Hello viewers, this is OWTMS, and it's kind of a side LP. I'm starting my LP of Metroid NES here. I don't know if a whole lot of people have LP'd this game, so I'm very good at this game, so I thought I'd you know, do an LP of it, share my knowledge with the world. No. But anyway, yeah, this is the little intro of the game. Whatever you want to call it. There's not really anything else to the intro here. So anyway, let's get started. Now, basically this game had a password system, but since I have save states, you're not going to see me like save passwords. Basically, I believe the way you are supposed to do it, now forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think really the only way you could do it on the NES version was you'd have to die to be able to obtain a password, which is kinda sucks. Now, I know what you're thinking, you're like, well, that's shitty, especially if you're not able to do the game all at once. However, one thing I will say about this game is that it's not very long, at least not in my opinion, and I'm not gonna speedrun it or anything, but, well, I guess I'm not really aiming for fastest time, and I'm not gonna like 100% item collect, but I'm gonna go pretty fast, I'd say. I'm not gonna like do a bunch of fancy tricks or anything. I'm just gonna kinda play the game normally how I'd play it, and you know, with commentary. So yeah. And I figured Metroid's a game I like and I'm good at, so I would LP this game and you know, all that stuff. I already stated it. Now this is an interesting enemy. Basically they'll only jump when you jump, so like if they're on the ground, if you jump, they'll go all the way up to the ceiling. It's kind of weird, but basically if you want them to move up, you're gonna have to jump and then kind of do some weird aerial dodging. But you can jump and kind of move around while in air by, you know, pressing the D-pad. Now here's a cool trick. If you ball up and then in mid-air press A, let me say that again. Ball up, if you roll off of like a ledge or something, and then press up and then A, you'll do a jump in air. So I thought I'd show that off. It's kind of cool. Not really helpful. It's actually helpful in a certain situation. Here, that I might be able to show it off in action shortly. However, give me a second to get through this part. This game is like all about somersaulting, and yeah, because basically that's what Samus does, you know. In fact, what's funny about this is that I think Samus is like one of the few female like main characters in an NES or like a Nintendo game. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you're gonna want to get items, but in order to get items, well, for people who haven't played this game before, let me kind of explain things slowly. Basically what you have to do is you have to get rockets, and the way you get rockets is you kind of get them in these little packs. I kind of showed it off in action there. Well, you'll kind of see. And basically, skills and items that I'll get later are usually governed by a red door, which requires 5 missiles, not rockets. I call them rockets, but they're really missiles, to break. And basically what that means is that I'm going to have to, well, each pack contains 5 missiles. Red door takes 5 missiles to break. Now, once you obtain the item, enemies will begin to drop that item to, like, refill, basically. Okay, so there's rockets. You press select to activate them. They look like this. Far more powerful than the regular attack. They can pretty much one-hit KO any enemy except bosses or the occasional really powerful enemy. I don't think that enemy I just killed there would be one of them. Yeah, but you see now their enemies will dropping rockets. Now, rockets, I can't even talk. Anyway, what's important to know about that is that each of those little rocket container things that you see floating around, I think I had a hard time explaining this to people who like haven't played, sorry about that. But anyway, they drop 2 of them. It's not complicated, it's just if you haven't played the game, it's going to be very hard to tell you what to do. Okay, now that I have rockets, what you're going to want to do is head back to that main, the first part, where you first were, where everything was blue. That blue area, I don't know what to call it. I'm not sure if this particular sector has a name. Maybe it does. I don't think it does, but if it does, you know, whatever. It's kind of the main hall of the game. We'll have to come back here later. Well, not to this particular room, but to this hall. Yeah. Anyways, shit, how am I for time? Pretty good, I guess. I really hope that didn't show up on screen, but maybe it did. If it did, that's kind of shitty. Yeah, like I said, 5 rockets. That's my maximum, that's how many it takes to break a red door. You'll notice an L in the middle of that orb there. Maybe you did. Basically, this beam is called the long beam. It increases my range. Not a little bit. Basically just makes the beam stretch across the screen, so it's a very useful enhancement, I'd say. Well, it's not really mandatory, and it's only really useful for like one part of the game, but to be honest, I would get it. Because in this game, you know, you want to have distance on your weapon, that way you can, you know, avoid taking damage. And it's really the first item that you're supposed to get, so, you know. Now, I was thinking about actually LPing the remake of this game for the GBA, and I might still do that, but that'll come in a later time, definitely. This game is slightly shorter, for 2 reasons. Number one, there's a lot less item collection to do in this game, because there's a lot fewer items. And in the second version, they added a kind of a part that wasn't in this game that really should have been. It's basically a space pirate part. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those. They're basically Sabesians, and space pirates, led by Ridley, are very powerful, annoying enemies, you know, that shoot plasma and have like phase-on equipment. Anyway, we won't really learn about that till later, but anyway, basically the thing with the space pirates is that in like the Prime games, they talk about how Samus was the one who defeated like a bunch of space pirates, and I guess in the remake they kind of used the sorry, I'm checking the time. The remake to that part of the game to explain what the hell they were talking about, since it wasn't in the original. Although I feel that it should have been, and that it would have been kind of interesting to see how 8-bit space pirates might look, since there are none in this game. But they're kind of an advanced looking enemy because they have a lot of detail, and I think it'd be kind of weird to see one in this game, because they'd probably screw it up and made it look like something like Ridley in this game. Ridley in this game is a pretty sad excuse for like a boss. First of all, he's weaker than Kraid, which is a mistake because he's not usually. Actually, he is weaker than Kraid normally, but well, I guess that's kind of debatable. It kind of depends on what game you're playing. I'm gonna go ahead and end the episode here. So this will be TMS signing out. Thanks for watching.